Hi everyone, it's Rita here with another video. Today I'm talking about post-traumatic stress disorder, also known as PTSD. Before I get started, as always, subscribe, like the video. Please comment down below. As I always say, it definitely helps other people. Feel free to express how you feel about whatever topic it is. And also, even if the video doesn't apply to you, please share the video. Knowledge is power, and there may be someone you know who needs this information, okay? So, what post-traumatic stress syndrome, PTSD, this is something that anyone can experience. Anyone at all can go through this experience. The reason why is because this is a disorder where the person has difficulty recovering because they have either experienced or witnessed a terrifying event. Remember this. This person cannot recover because they have experienced or witnessed a terrifying event. Now, some examples of people who more commonly suffer post-traumatic stress syndrome, PTSD, we're going to call it PTSD for short, are people who've served in the military, who've gone off to war. You'll find that a lot of veterans, Vietnam vets, World War I, World War II, people who've gone to Afghanistan and Iraq and Iran, people who have served in those wars overseas and actually had to do serious damage to other people or witnessed other damage, definitely come home with post-traumatic stress syndrome. Abuse victims, that's always my main topic. Children of abuse, people who have been in car accidents, believe it or not, may experience that post-traumatic stress syndrome. I don't know if any of you have been in a serious accident, but if you feel like you can't get in a vehicle again, part of that is because of that PTSD. Also, people who have had botched surgeries or surgeries that it takes much longer to recover than they're supposed to. It can also be very traumatizing as well. And most currently in the news, we've seen in social media, unfortunately, a lot of people had to watch a video of a man being killed. Okay, this is reality. Almost the entire world has seen all or parts or pictures of this video, and that causes post-traumatic stress syndrome as well. So that is part of the reason why people are hurting right now, because they've witnessed this horrible, terrifying event. Okay. Now, some of the symptoms of PTSD include intense feelings of distress when you're reminded of the event. You don't want to think about it, and it causes you to start feeling really anxious. It gives you that anxiety. The extreme physical reactions, which would naturally be like, I felt sick to my stomach a lot when I went through my abuse, and I was traumatized. It gave me sick to my stomach when I left. Nausea, sweating. I experienced flashbacks. A lot of people will say that something will trigger them to have those flashbacks. Something will remind them literally of a certain point in their time where they were very traumatized. Like, I would just be standing there and I would just remember, like, kind of going off into space, like, oh man, I remember this time. Like, I would hear a song or a certain smell, sometimes can trigger things. The way somebody talks to you sometimes can trigger those flashbacks as well. You'll have a numb feeling. You'd just be like, don't feel anything at all anymore. That can also be something, a feeling of you just don't live a normal life anymore. Like you feel like, I don't know what's going on in my life anymore. Sometimes you'll black out after experiencing trauma and experiencing this post-traumatic stress syndrome, this post-traumatic stress disorder. will cause you to black out. It will, and that's almost natural sometimes when you experience a deep trauma. Your brain will just click off some of those horrific events, even though you might need to recall them for one reason or another. Sometimes that's just what happens. Now, you may wonder how people describe post-traumatic stress disorder, and you may hear some common things like, or the events that caused it. People may say, I don't want to talk about it. I just totally avoid the situation. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to deal with it. Or you might hear the opposite, which is, I can't get these flashbacks, or I can't get this memory out of my head. I just want to forget about this tragic event that happened, and I can't stop thinking about it. I keep having panic attacks. I feel like the event keeps happening over and over and over again. I just keep having nightmares. I just can't end this feeling or that numb feeling. All of these kind of go together too. A lot of these feelings definitely will go together. Myself, I didn't really realize that I had post-traumatic stress syndrome until after the fact, after I left. And that's what happens. Sometimes we don't realize for quite a ways down the road until somebody brings it to our attention. And that's why I want to bring it to your attention, because you or someone you know might be experiencing this and not even realize that it's happening. Now, another great question, how can we treat or handle PTSD? One of the best things you can do is listen. Just listen. If somebody needs to vent and they just need a listening ear, just listen to what they have to say. That in itself is almost priceless. Offer support, and just by saying, how can I help you? If you've listened to them and you say, what can I do to further help you? Offering a walk, going for a walk with people. Nature always has a way of kind of calming people down, making people feel more relaxed sometimes, depending on the situation. Learning what your triggers or their triggers are, so you don't upset them or upset yourself and cause yourself to have flashbacks. Again, knowledge is power. Learn what triggers you. Learn what might trigger them, depending on what the incident is, or the event that they went through, or the event that they saw. Encourage them, most importantly, to get treatment. I'm not a counselor. You're not a counselor. You're not a counselor for your partner. You're not a counselor for your brother or your sister or your mother or your father. Whoever's going through the event, you're not an actual counselor. So encouraging them to actually get some help is one of the best things you can do. Therapy there's nothing wrong with it. It's good. Sometimes it's so good for someone to do. And the therapist can also offer medications that the person experiencing PTSD might need. And that's something that we can't do. Now remember, you didn't ask for this trauma to happen, and neither did the person who may have experienced it. Once it's already done, we cannot go back in time and change the trauma. We can't go back in time and erase what's already happened. All we can do going forward is to learn how to deal with it and learn how to heal from it. That is taking control of your own life, okay? That's one of the most important things that you can do. Again, if you've experienced post-traumatic, if you're experiencing it now and you want to let other people know that this is happening to you or how you feel about it, just comment down below. And again, please share the video with someone, even if it doesn't apply to you. Somebody else might need to hear this information. And look in the description, because there's always the number for the Domestic Abuse Hotline, the Suicide Prevention Lifeline, and also the Child Abuse Hotline as well. If you need those numbers, they are in the description down below. So thank you so much, and you guys have a great night.